Radio Zero.
It's Radio Zero with Rick and Rose, February 25th. See, now I got electrocuted.
Electrocuted.
Okay, I didn't get electrocuted.
You can subscribe to the podcast on Apple, Google Podcasts, which is what I'm using lately, other streaming platforms, or you can go to radiozero.us. We're live streaming on the Facebook Radio Zero page and Poster Children page, on Twitch at PCJC USA, and on the Poster Children YouTube channel. You can patronize us at patreon.com/Radio Zero. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
This has been such a week for me. I don't know about you, but it's been a rough week for me.
Yeah.
It's like we had. Oh, I have to turn off the auto-generated captions there. Okay, there we go. Oh my God. So right before we just came from the something SA string, IGMSA, IMGSA, some kind of like a string competition, where you bring your junior high school kid to the junior high school here, like to one of the junior high schools, and then there's judges set up in rooms, and then the kid performs the violin. So there were also like wind instruments and like brass instruments too. And like we got there, like first of all, I've been really nervous about this for like a couple of weeks because I was going to be his accompanist, and I'm scared to death to play a piano in front of people. I don't know why. I finally got myself over it.
And that's your original instrument, right? You started piano before orchestra, right?
Oh,
or before a violin.
Oh, yeah. I started piano when I was 4. And so, and violin I started like in 4th grade. And I'll play, I don't care. I'll play a violin in front of anybody. Although it's getting kind of embarrassing, to play because the kids are getting really, really good. They're at this point, they've played probably more hours than me. But to accompany him on the piano, so like I was like earlier this week, I was emailing his orchestra director, and this is like a conglomeration of like a bunch of the schools in the area, right? It was schools in the area, but he's one of the orchestra directors, so I'm like, can I please get into the room and just try out the piano before? And he's like, no. That can't happen. And so, I'm sorry. I was like, this is why we drive to Champaign for lessons, because it was so disorganized. But so in Champaign, when we have when we have this, it's at Cranert. No, it's at the music building, right? And there's a piano.
It's
not an electric piano.
It's just the people in the school
in the conservatory. Yeah.
I think in a place in there.
Yeah.
It's not the
regional
local organization organizing it in a place.
So anyway, I didn't know that it wasn't going to be a real piano. He wrote back. He was like, "Well, generally speaking, these are going to be in classrooms and they're going to be rented electric pianos."
PSOs.
And I was like, ooh,
not even a PSO.
That was not a piano-shaped object. That was like I could have brought my Roland Juno 6 and like it would have sounded better.
No, that's not true at all.
Yeah, maybe not. Okay. It did kind of have weighted keys. It was an ancient. Anyway, when we finally found the room and they like told us.
So this is what I remember about going there like 5 years ago. Is it was totally disorganized. So first off, you go into this junior high and you park. There's a parking lot at the end of the school, and so you walk in, and all of the information on this event, right, is on boards in the middle of the school about a mile away, and so. The way you're walking into the building, almost everyone who goes there, right, you have no idea what's going on, where to go, or anything like that.
It's not your school. You've never been in there.
Yeah, so I remembered, at least from the last time, I got to walk into the center of the building to find out the information. And then we get to that center board there after you stop to talk to a bunch of people who didn't know what was going on. And I was just like, we got to go and look at this board. The board had one schedule on it, right, but it was only for horns. And then it had a sign that said room so-and-so, so-and-so, and so-and-so with an arrow pointing that way. And it said room 21 and all these other rooms. And it had underneath it an arrow pointing where we had just gone. And then it said strings rehearse in room 21. And so it's like, But we somehow figured out to walk the other
because
opposite
there
direction.
was another you didn't see. So I'm left-handed, so I saw the sign on the left side that said room 21 pointing to the left.
Right.
You didn't see that. There was another sign on the right side of the board saying room 21 was to the right.
And so yeah,
God.
so the room and it was like originally our child's what is it? Performance was supposed to be in room 9 or 10, right?
Yeah.
There was room 9 or 10,
Yeah.
but then we got there, right? And they said, no, it's not in 9 or 10, it's in 2 or 6. But there was only one piece of paper for horns, woodwinds, showing what rooms they were in. And so then we go into room 21, find it, set up, start rehearsing. And then by the time, like 15 minutes later, I went and looked back at that sign, I think, right? And then there were a bunch of postings with every room
for the strings
for everybody.
For everybody,
right?
Okay.
On that board in the middle of the school.
And then they were gone.
And then by the time it was time for him to play, walked back past that sign, a bunch of people looking at that sign. I crossed out the number 21 next to the arrow pointing the wrong direction. And they had taken away the schedules. And then when we got to the room, the schedule for the room was on in front of the room itself. So basically
that's what they had for the brass too. They had
you had to find the room you were supposed to perform at, which had changed, in order to see what room and what time you were performing. It was
poor orchestra director, conductor
he was panicking because it was just like, I don't know where anyone's supposed to go.
And like our colleagues were there too. Did you see a couple of the School of Music colleagues were there? Must have been there with their kids.
And it's a transitional time, so pretty much everyone doesn't care about COVID anymore. And
nobody's got masks on. Nobody, including our judge. She did not have a mask on.
I went to the junior high, what was it, 3 or 4 days ago to pick up our child early for a dentist appointment, and no one was wearing masks either. Me and my child
optional.
were the only ones wearing masks. And I understand, it's a new world, but it was a little frustrating.
Well, he played really well. So this is what we're escaping. Like we're not soccer moms, right? So we don't have to like deal with driving them to this kind of bullshit.
So this is what every day is, or every weekend is like if you have soccer or
baseball,
little league stuff like that. Yeah, it's wandering around trying to find out where you're supposed to be.
And then yelling at your kid for sucking, for
I
messing up.
didn't see any of that behavior.
No,
today.
I didn't either. But I was really proud, and our teacher, his teacher is so strict. It's neat that she's so strict because she's like the best teacher, that there's no way that a judge is going to be any harsher than his teacher. So
you did these things. I remember doing one for saxophone, and I remembered not enjoying it.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy. I hated it. Yeah, this is the type of thing that you're scared and you're worried for ages and stuff, and then it happens, and then you're relieved that it's over. And I thought about that, when Dow brought that sheet home, oh, should I sign up for this? Should I agree to do this? And I think I said to him, no, let's not do that. That would suck. Why do we have to get all nervous and worried about it? And then the more I thought about it, I talked to him about it, and I was like, the fact that we're going to be so so anti it, and so the fact that it's making us so uncomfortable, we should probably do it.
Well, I was never anti it. It's just our other child didn't seem interested in doing it. So, I didn't enjoy it, but I think I didn't enjoy it because I wasn't very good and I didn't practice. Right? I've told that story hundreds of times where I was at the private lessons for my saxophone, and I remember the saxophone teachers. He was a clarinet player, and then you'd sit there and play, and then he'd, realize it was basically him making money and being frustrated that you'd never practiced, right? But it's like, okay. And then I remember his daughter, I could hear, was upstairs watching the monkeys. And I was like,
how come I'm not watching the monkeys?
I think I'd rather be doing that than trying to play the saxophone.
Yeah, well.
Little did I know that I would become one of the most famous rock and roll saxophone players of all time.
It's funny how that
was a
worked out,
joke.
isn't it?
Yes.
It's funny how that happens.
That's the thing, is the timing was right. Actually, I should have,
Should have continued.
Yeah, I don't
Why
understand.
Did you call your mom right now and say, why did you let me quit?
Well, if I did that, then my mom would remind me that I lent my saxophone to Tom Zima and he's never given it back. And my mom was like, that was expensive, Rick.
Oh, Chris Rieger is watching. He hated those annual solo performances. Yeah, I hate it too. Like, why do we force our kids to do it? Because why do we force anybody to do anything? Why do we have to?
For our younger child, I think he's spent a lot of time and effort, and for him, it's a validation. I think it's a positive for him. So I think for some people, it's a positive. Yeah, it seems like a positive thing.
Yeah.
And how do we find out the results?
I think the results are going to depend whether or not, it's going to say something about our masks. The masks obscured the facial expression. And I think that woman was an anti-masker.
It's not true. It's a new world.
It is true that I think that, though. Okay. So I wanted to talk about how tense I was about, and it could have been a lot worse. I've been thinking about people who take anti-anxiety medication, and like whether or not that's something I should do. Cause last time I was at my doctor, she's like, say the word, you got it. You're better living through through medicine. Chemistry, that's the thing. So I was so worried about that. And then 2 hours before that, we had the annual begging for money for the Capoeira Club at ISU, which is terrifying. Oh, Chris Rieger, if he's still listening to it, he did that same thing. He had to beg for money for the music business organization probably. But I used to get really nervous about that too, and now I'm like, it's fine. And so that was a little less nerve-wracking for me, but I have a sense memory of being worried about it. Mm-hmm. And then before that, then I had a presentation on Wednesday. I had the scary annual report and budget asks, planning for our department, for what are we, a program, for our program. And I had to present in front of
PowerPoint.
I had to present in front of everybody, and they don't do PowerPoints, and I did, and I remember doing it last year, for the first time, but I had that. I think my boob was still bleeding at that point, from having the breast cancer operation a couple of weeks before that. So it was just I don't remember much, but
it's funny, a total tangent, but I was watching this Kurt Vonnegut documentary, and his daughter was saying I think it was their last conversation, is he called her up and said, how are your boobs? Because that was always a worry in their family.
The breast cancer.
Breast cancer, yeah.
So I was really worried about that. And then the night before, I worked for a couple of days on I would have worked a lot longer, but now that I'm getting older, I'm actually getting a little bit less worried about all this stuff. So I didn't work as hard as I could have. I worked hard, but I didn't stay up all night the night before.
It seemed like you were working pretty hard.
I was working really hard, but I could have worked even harder. I could have it wouldn't have been working harder. It would have been worrying more.
Yes.
And but then the night before, I was ready with it the day before. I was like, I'm ready now. And then she changed. She's like, I don't want to see an annual report this time. I just want to see budgets. I was like, oh, fuck. So I had to change it around. I had to totally change it around the last night, but it worked out good. It was all for the best. And then I did something else wrong, and they're very forgiving. they're very, I don't know. They must think I'm a crackpot or something.
It's your first year.
It's the beginning of my second year now.
Well,
I
don't think what I said was wrong.
Yeah, I guess I feel like a baby and very naive compared to everybody else, but I love to sit there and learn anyway. So it was just a week full of just being terrified for me, the whole week. And I knew, I was like, okay, when does it, when you have those types of weeks, you're like, when is it going to end? It's just, when can I be happy and take a bath and eat ice cream? It's when will I not have to feel this terror, And that's what got me started thinking about anti-anxiety medication. But okay, when is the terror going to be over? And I was like, okay, it's going to be over right after we finish right after I don't mess up my son's solo by fucking up the accompaniment, then we come right back here. We do Radio Zero, and I'm not sure how I feel. Like I have a little apprehensive about Radio Zero too. But after that, then we're done. Except that we're practicing Salaryman all weekend. So then we have to worry that the towels are clean for Howie and like the house is a little bit cleaner and stuff. So that's terrifying also. And then next week is like week 8, so I got to be terrified about teaching classes. I probably should take anti-anxiety medication.
Well, I feel like the last time everybody came here, I worried about the towels and cleaning up before everyone was here. So you don't even have to worry about that.
Okay, all right, Joe Summerall is saying bring on the medicine.
That's a quote.
What'll I have left?
Rose probably doesn't even know what that is.
I don't.
Yeah.
Is it the Beatles?
This is what I'm dealing with.
What is it, the Beatles?
This is my anxiety, is that I'm going to have to remember all the songs that we rehearsed it a month ago with Salaryman.
Yeah, that's mine too.
I'm going to have to spend a huge amount of time reminding everyone what we played. Even though there are recordings of them that I provided everyone.
Did you? Okay.
Yes.
I have to go
and
find
by everyone,
those.
I mean Rose.
No, you provided Jim and Howie also, right?
Yeah.
With those, because they were listening to him, I could tell. Oh, Chris just wrote he was stressed about the MBO hearing. I wish I had known when, but I couldn't have gone to it because I had to be playing the electric piano in room 2 at what was it? What?
4:42 p.m.
Oh my God! I swear.
And that was
God.
I think that was the first one too, right? That's what's interesting to me is I think we were the first ones.
Yeah,
in
we
that
were
room.
the first ones in the room.
So
and
that to me drives me crazy.
The judge was waiting for us.
4:42. Why would you start it? Why would you start this at 4:42
instead of 4:40
or 4:45?
That's right. We were the first. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like they didn't have a stand ready. No one had played before.
We had to put a desk chair. What was that called? Like a we're in a classroom
all in one desk,
junior high classroom. So we had to shove over a desk, and then she put like a roll of toilet paper, a roll of paper towels to hold up the music. And thank God, I couldn't believe it held up the music. But do you remember before we left, I said, I kind of thought, and I'm glad you were coming with, because I was worried that there would be no stand for the electric piano that they were going to provide, and that I would need somebody to hold the music. And Dow was like, they're going to have a stand. Was there a stand?
Well, that was my experience with the last one. I've wanted to film this. It was just the most beautiful thing like 5 years ago when it was a full orchestra. And first off, we're in a gym, right? And these kids are set up in the orchestra. And they're supposed to start, and we're all sitting there. And then there's this giant air conditioner or some kind of heating thing just going in there. And we're all sitting in there. The kids are sitting in there. And then you start hearing like running sounds, like in a silent movie or like a comedy, right? A silent comedy, it was like a Jacques Tati movie, right? A Mr. Hulot movie. And the running got louder and louder. And then all of a sudden, 2 kids come running into the auditorium, into the gymnasium, holding stands, each in 2 hands. And then they put them down, and then they run out.
Oh,
and then
God.
Everybody sits there for like another 5 or 10 minutes. And then all of a sudden, you start hearing, and the same 2 kids come running in again with 4 more stands. It was like the weirdest moment, and everyone's just kind of sitting there, like no one's talking. The kids are just staring. So
there were no stands, right?
There were no stands, and then there's just gonga 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 gonga.
Who organizes this? Like, do you
musicians? That's what I said.
But I mean,
when we left, organized.
Wait a minute.
By musicians.
Oh. Are we going to need stands? Like the woman was like, she's like, oh, do you need...
It's, if you don't have that one person who thinks, about ahead of time, they...
Notice how he points to himself.
I didn't. I did the wavy hands around my head.
No, you pointed to yourself first.
No,
we can rewind this.
I did the wavy hands around my head.
That's fine. You're the one.
It's like thinking about it.
Josh Vaughn says, bring on the chemicals.
Exactly. See?
Joe Christmas says hello. Hello. Hi, Joe.
Yeah, no, it's events,
Joe,
require
you
some
could have
thought.
been the manager for this IGMSA.
And it's a thankless job. I mean, no matter what, it's going to be hurting cats. Like just
I know,
walking through that hallway.
The hallway was
like,
filled with just parents like, where do we go? And nobody had a mask on.
Whenever I pick up our 12-year-old, he's like screaming bloody murder because it's like, why are these parents parked over here and they're blocking this, and why aren't they're not supposed to do this? And then it's like today we're like trying to walk up some stairs, and they're just a bunch of kids like standing gape mouthed on the stairs.
At the top of the stairs, and you're like trying to get around, and you're carrying like an instrument.
And I'm like,
there are people carrying heavier instruments.
Why are they just standing there? And I'm like, you're just gonna have to get used to the fact that this world is full of people who don't think outside of their own head and have I mean, I am not the most aware person, but I at least feel like, well, no, I don't always know what's going on.
All right, so we're done talking about this, I think.
All right.
About my terrifying week.
Move on to a new terror. Do you want to talk about Mark Lanigan, our death of the week?
Who? What? Death of the week.
So we have to be somewhat respectful here. So I mean, it did. I felt affected by it. So I talked.
Did he kill himself?
I don't know.
Did he heroinize himself?
Actually, that was really funny about this Kurt Vonnegut documentary, where he said he was suing the owners of Pall Mall cigarettes because he was smoking since he was 12, and it even says on the package that they're supposed to kill him, and they haven't killed him yet. It's like a classy method of suicide, and he was angry that he hadn't died yet, right? This was when he was in his 80s. And he, in fact, did not die of lung cancer. He died from falling down the stairs, right? He lived to be 84, even though he was a tragic chain smoker,
Joe
right?
Chrisman is saying that he had COVID. You mean Mark Lanigan had COVID?
He did have COVID and was hospitalized.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
But he had recovered, I thought, but yeah.
Right,
but I was talking about tour friends or band friends or music friends, right? And talking about how, and I mean, I haven't seen Mark Lanigan in 30 years. We talked about him a while ago because he
disparaged us in his fucking book.
I mean,
no, you were snooty too, I believe.
Oh, right, yeah, that's right.
You were stuck up. The only one who wasn't stuck up, get this, was Johnny Machine, huh?
The cool guy.
He wasn't stuck up.
The cool guy. The
rest
coolest
of us
guy in
were
the band.
snooty.
The nerds who were terrified by a raging addict who literally was throwing bottles at people.
See, I enjoyed that.
Slapping people in the face, and nearly got 3 shows canceled on a tour because he slapped.
Oh yeah.
He slapped the promoter in the face, and I'm not talking about a rumor. I was sitting in our dressing room watching him as he was screaming at the promoter and then slapped the promoter in his face. So I'm an eyewitness to that. And I'm an eyewitness because I was sitting next to the person he tried to cave in their head with a glass bottle, basically through
the glass bottle, and then
Jack Daniel's bottle at high speed in
the
dressing room of
it was a tiny dressing room
in Kansas. Oh, Lawrence, Kansas. What is the club? Everybody's been there, right? What's the freaking club? The Bottleneck.
Yeah.
So super tiny club.
Yeah.
Super tiny dressing room.
Maybe 1,000 seats.
So basically a room the size of a closet, somebody whipping at full speed a Jack Daniel's bottle at a person's head.
What's interesting is that
sitting next to me, and that person did not go to the hospital because they dodged.
Yeah.
They dodged this bottle screaming at their head. So...
But you know what?
So for me, I was basically, I'm not going to engage with this person, right? So that's unfair. I mean, Wait a minute. First of all, it was the most entertaining tour we ever were on, right?
I know. Wait, so why were we all in that dressing room? And also,
there was only one dressing room. It was a freaking tiny club,
and
they would stay in the bus. They had a bus.
Because I remember we were juggling oranges.
Well, that was in Florida. That was the day that nearly the whole 3 shows in Florida got canceled.
Somebody stole one of their jackets.
The drummer's jacket.
Yeah.
Barrett's jacket.
So, but after, I do remember, and we all that stuff almost got canceled. And I remember Mel, our manager at the time, calling up and going, "Are you guys okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, we're having a great time. What are you talking about? We're on tour." And he's like, "But I heard that this happened and they had to cancel shows and and I was like, oh yeah, that did happen. And then I heard this happen and oh yeah, I guess that happened too. And he's like, are you guys sure you're okay? But that was the tour that we were stopping and buying fireworks and blowing them off in the parking lots because it was scaring the screaming trees. But the thing is, we were friends with them. This is what gets me. I'm gonna repeat myself again. Is that I just thought they were the nicest guy. They were really, really nice. I thought Mark Lanigan was nice. I enjoyed hanging out near him and stuff. I enjoyed. He seemed very nice. And the other guys.
The rest of the band was amazing.
Sweetest guys in the world. But Mark Lanigan was always, I thought, oh, he's nice too. He's not always around because he's, got to do his heroin or whatever. That's fine. And I enjoyed watching them. And he was always kind of grumpy. Remember he came up, we played at a junior high or a high school or something. Didn't we play
like
at a high
prep
school?
Yeah.
And he came out and he said, you kids, what did he say? You
kids still have a chance to do something with your lives. Me, I've got the left horn of Satan shoved so far up my ass, there's no hope for me.
He said that.
He did. It was amazing.
At the show.
Yeah, it was great.
But, and we went over really well. Yeah. We had a good time.
No.
I had no idea that he. And then I guess I cried a lot too on the tour though, because I would have a problem. So I wrote about this in my book. I would have a problem afterwards because I didn't think we played well, and so I'd cry. I'd be crying, I think I did cry a couple of times because I wanted to play good enough so that we would be supporting them well. You know what I mean? That's why I would have been crying. But he wrote that I was crying for some reason in his book. He wrote that.
Yeah, and to be fair, in the 90s, that wasn't okay. To first off have a woman on tour and then have her crying all the time. Whereas now.
And you know what? You know what I could add in my book is that I had mental health issues.
Anxiety.
I had mental health issues, and that's why I was crying. So I was crying, and I think in the same part of my book, I'm like talking about the cows, Shannon, right?
Yeah.
Talking about Shannon, and I was crying then too. You know what Shannon did? He's like, you just gotta learn to, what did he have a famous line, right? How he wrote about it in a song. You just got to find that place in your heart. You got to cut out your heart. Every day we cut out our hearts and we give it to the audience on a platter, and you just want to, try to leave the stage with your soul intact or something, or your dignity intact or something. And he was sweet too, but it's like wow. So I was like, in my mind, I was comparing and contrasting Mark Lanigan with Shannon Cow.
And yeah, it definitely he was a great frontman. It was definitely felt very Doors-like. And it definitely felt like he was almost a prisoner of expectations in terms of what his role as kind of a lead singer of a rock band. I mean, honestly, and it's amazing he lasted this long, and he had lots of lives and made lots of music and continued to be a musician, and bounced back from being seeming like it was over, and it continued. Kind of had a, I don't want to call it a resurgence, but had some really, really dark times and came back and was performing as a musician again. So,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
it's
I
all great.
I have nothing
but
bad to say about him except that why did he write that shit in his book about
because
me?
Obviously that book. I mean, that's, as you'll find out when your book comes out and everyone says, well, there's nothing really exciting in it.
Yeah.
It's just somebody talking about playing shows and computers and stuff. Not complaining about their traumas, or
Danny's asking about. We played with the Screaming Trees. They took us on tour with them for a long time.
6-week tour around the United States.
Yeah, and it was wonderful. I remember it being wonderful. I guess I did cry a lot though. Sorry.
It's freaking 6 weeks, man. That was, and we were in a van.
But it was in America, at least.
Oh, yeah.
Remember the 6-weeker with, no offense, steel pole bathtub, but like, we were all counting down. We were like, we're in single digits now. That was a long tour also, the Europe tour. It wasn't 6 weeks.
And actually, I believe that would have been, Yeah, Johnny got his face cut up remember, in Canada, in Quebec City.
Was this
that?
the Screaming Trees
Yeah,
tour?
that was that same tour. Johnny
Yeah.
quit at
Yeah.
the end of it or at the end of that, that
He
winter
got into a
and
fight.
Winter and spring, I believe we did 88 days.
Yeah, in a row. Without
so,
staying in any hotels
So we
at all.
started on the Six Finger
van.
Satellite tour, but then we continued after that, and then we did 88 straight days. And so if there was a day off, I think I can't remember. Oh no, we had to drive. That's right. We did a tour before the Six Finger Satellite tour, right? Because we did have days off because we drove from Fordham in the Bronx, right? That's where Fordham is, right? And we drove from our show. We started the night after we played in Fordham. We got in the van and we drove
to Missoula.
To Missoula, Montana was our first show with Screaming Trees.
That's right.
So we drove from Fordham all the way. Yeah. So we slept for how long did we sleep in Minneapolis?
We slept for about 6 hours in our booking agent's house on the floor with some other band.
I can't. Who was it?
We can't remember who.
We didn't. Yeah, we can't remember because we didn't actually see them. We got there after they were asleep. We slept for a few hours, and then we woke up before they woke up, and then we drove to Missoula, overnight.
Montana, and we got there 15. We got there 15 minutes earlier than I expected. I projected we would get there like at 6:30 p.m. on the night that for load in, and we got there at 6:15. It wasn't the fluid. We remember the fluid also.
Well, they got us the show. So this is the classic thing so what you learn, and this has happened multiple times, actually, a couple of times, at least twice on a tour with someone who is addicted to heroin is that they try to quit, that they use the tour because they're away from their network. They use the tour to kick, and then 3 days in, the shows get canceled.
Because that's about when you get sick.
And then a creepy guy shows up on the tour, and the shows go on, and there's a new creepy guy who's always hanging around. And so that's happened to us.
Was that the guy who was really into having sex with he was all excited because he had sex with a woman who had her period?
And then had to get to somewhere in Phoenix to get assigned because Don Knotts, who was still alive at the time, was appearing at a dinner theater and went and got a signed picture of Don Knotts, and also probably scored some
good dope
from good dope from good Arizona dope too at the same time.
Yeah. Okay. Where were we? Any other questions?
Anyways, it was great. It was great. And we have I wish I could find that beautiful picture of Mark Lanigan because he was.
I have it. It's he was laying on the floor with the thing of smoke in front of him.
Yeah, when he's so that's the thing is the reason why I was standoffish, I think. Well, I know. Is because you didn't want to engage too deeply because you would have a really great engagement with him, but then at some point he would try to cave your head in with a bottle because he would get pissed off at you for some reason. And so the reason why I think I'm naturally standoffish, I'm a shy person, but also I tend to avoid volatile people. My approach is to avoid. And in fact, that's something that Ian from Fugazi once, the time they were involved in a gun incident where the promoter was pulling a gun on them, and
he was.
I was in the van. I was like, and then afterwards he was like, "So that's what you fucking do? Is we're like, things are the shit is happening, and you're in the fucking van," and I'm like, "Yes, that is me exactly." So it's like I'm not going to run into the. I'm not going to run into the fire, right? I'm going to run away and hide. Not that I was in the room when the gun was pulled and then ran away. It was just like I'm already things were like getting crazy. People were screaming at each other, and it's like, okay, I'm not going to participate in this dangerous situation. Because I'm a pacifist.
Yeah.
Not because I'm a coward. Maybe a little bit because I'm a coward.
You're a coward.
What's the difference?
Yeah. You're saying that pacifists are cowards?
I defend you. I'll defend my family. And the thing is I used to get into fights when I was a kid. And
I get into fights all the time.
No, I'm talking about physical fights. And it's something that I've learned to control and avoid. So I'm not going to get into, into that. All right, go on. Sorry.
Mark Lanigan.
Didn't mean to interrupt.
I'm sorry, I interrupted you though.
No, go ahead.
I still don't have anything bad to say about him. I'm hurt that he wrote that in his book. It's really mean. I mean, I was kind of starstruck around him. You know what I mean? I was like, oh my God, it's Mark Lanigan. Oh, they're letting us be. I think I wrote in my tour diary, they let us into their dressing room again. They're so nice, and like, that's what I wrote. That's where my mind was. And I wrote an email to him, like right after that book came out. And I was like, dude, I know we didn't get the Discord box set, and you should like talk to Ian. Ian is totally freaked out about the Discord box sets. I can talk a little bit about that. I
don't know if it's your place to talk about.
It's probably not my place to talk about it. But where was I? Well, oh yeah, I wrote to Mark Lanigan, and I'm like, why would you write this about me? I didn't know, I only had, like, I was starstruck by you. I always thought you were really nice. I was starstruck by all you guys, and you were all so sweet to us. And I just kept going on about it. I remember in my tour diary, oh my God, they're absolute dolls, I wrote. And then I thought to myself, you don't know what people are thinking in their heads. You might, like, who knows? Like, somebody who's being really nice to you might just be.
Oh yeah, there was like a weird malevolent kind of like, I'm gonna fuck with them kind of thing.
Yeah,
in his
not
book,
with
right?
them, with me.
With you,
with
yeah,
me.
I forgot about that.
I'm gonna fuck with her, and I'm gonna be really extra nice to her and see what happens. Yeah, I wrote this whole, like, I guess it's really good writing if you're gonna write like that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's just great that we made it into some document of grunge history.
How would you feel? Yeah, that is true. That's true.
Should just be happy.
How would you feel if he wrote that about you though? Like, you would be really upset, right?
Oh, sure. Well, I'm upset about the standoffish thing, but I understand that. I get that all the time. But now, of course, we understand that there are people who are introverts, and they also at least people understand that just because you're in a band singing on stage does not mean that you're the most gregarious person and comfortable, and perhaps have a long history of being tortured by your peers psychologically and physically, and so you're not necessarily going to just open yourself up to any random person because they may say something completely shitty to you, right?
Like, I'm starting to cave in now. Like, my students are like, I'm sad, so I can't turn this in, and here's a card like showing you that I'm sad, and I'm okay, you're sad. You don't have to turn. You don't have to turn in your homework.
We've built a world that's intolerable for people. This world is intolerable. Or capitalism has constructed a world that is not conducive to mental health.
But I'm just
thinking, a healthy life.
I'm just thinking that I could go back and say, well, I was crying because I was mentally ill, and you need to respect my mental illness.
Well, yeah, no, that's the whole thing. It's a very 90s perspective, and it's what same shit. Like if it was a man crying, that would have been a powerful thing, right?
Yeah.
It would have been like, oh, I had an emotional bond with them.
Yeah, but this is a woman crying, so was crying about some. I have it saved somewhere. It's in a file called. Never mind.
You were the only woman on that tour, Rose. Right?
Oh yeah, go figure.
I'm trying to think. I do not believe there was and I'm going through my mind because it's like, was there a female merch person, right?
Yes, I think there was.
I feel like that's possible, but I think it's possible, but I feel like that wasn't this tour. I think it's entirely possible out of the 20 people who were on that tour, including, the bands. So there was Pond also was opening. Mm-hmm. There were roadies, PA people and everything like that. I believe it was a sausage fest except for you.
So, what's funny is that I would not have noticed it either. No, I never noticed it. Oh, I'm the only.
That's why you did fine.
Woman. Yeah.
And only cried occasionally. You were not crying all the time.
Okay. So we didn't get a Discord box set. There are something like 14,000 Discord box sets.
And so honestly,
not my place to
freaking posers. If you didn't get those records initially, why are you buying them now, posers?
Yeah. The Deep Tunnel Project played a show.
I actually remember a guy in my high school I think he had the Screams, that first Screams record on vinyl. I remember. I'm trying to
You mean
remember
the
what
Champagne Band?
No,
Scream?
no,
Oh, okay.
Screams.
Oh, the Discord. Now he's looking it up now. Yeah, we didn't get one. Did you get one, Danny? That's the question. Are they out? Did Chris Rieger get one? Okay. So what's next? We talk about more rock stars. Dish on more rock stars.
Oh yeah, it was called Scream, not Screams.
Mm.
Yeah. I remember this guy
What
showing
other
me this record.
What other tours have we been on with nice people? Like the Cows were so sweet, and I
Who
love
asked
them.
that?
No, me. I'm
Oh, you asked
asking it.
that.
What other tours have we been on with
You
nice
know,
people?
honestly,
Fugazi
well, that's what I was
always
talking about.
wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is you.
But the Screaming Trees were really nice too. Yeah.
What my whole initial point of this is the idea of the tour friends. It's like, so there's some kind of bond when you tour, and then you may not see these people ever again. You have this intense relationship, right, with people.
Yeah.
And then you don't see them, but like Jay from Jawbox, we saw like what 5. Well, I guess now it's been 5 years, but it was just like you see him and you start talking to him, and it's like, oh yeah, and then I was like, when was the last time I actually saw Jay in person? And it was like, wow, is it possible it was like 20 years ago? But it's just like you just fall into a conversation.
Pick right back
right?
up.
And so there's something
Chris
really...
is saying, what about Jawbox? Yeah, Rick is talking about Jay Robbins from Jawbox right now.
And so, yeah, it's that kind of thing. But even people like, so like Mark Lanigan, what I was saying was it still affected me because it was like, oh, this is someone I spent 6 weeks with. I, of course, kept my distance because either I'm a standoffish person or he was terrifying, in some situations, or scared me. But it definitely felt like someone you knew, even if it was someone you hadn't seen for 30 years, right? It does have an effect on you. It's really strange. Tour friends.
I was starstruck by him, and I never thought he was mean, and I couldn't believe what I read.
No one's holding a gun to your head. You don't have to keep saying that.
No, I just feel bad.
It's starting to feel like a hostage situation.
Never get back at him for what he wrote.
What's the thing from Raymond Shaw is the most...
Okay.
It's the most wonderful,
Joe Chrisman
talented.
is saying failure. They were good, too.
Oh, yeah.
They were really
great.
sweet. They were really nice. Everybody was always very nice to us. And then Super Chunk, we had a great time with, I think we did Salaryman with them in Europe, right? Who else did we play? Steel Pull Bathtub were the absolute sweetest, nicest people. Now I do sound like Raymond Shaw or whatever.
That's true though. I mean,
yeah,
and that's because not that Montana is the same as Illinois, but it is. There's something when you play with musicians, and not that Steel Pull by then was San Francisco based, but that Midwestern kind of musician. There was that bond, I think, is just similar backgrounds.
Tar, Jesus Lizard.
Yeah.
Lovely,
that was,
lovely guys.
Yeah.
Who else was on Lollapalooza that we would hang out with?
Yola Tango and Coolio. Didn't hang out much with Coolio. What was the band? Oh, crap. See, I feel bad.
The
Possum Dixon?
Oh, yeah, they were really nice, too.
I'm forgetting somebody.
The ones who played the weird instruments. No, I can't remember their name. Crap.
That I don't remember.
But that was well. Who was on the main stage was Beck and Sonic Youth.
Yeah.
Who were Sonic Youth always very nice to us. Pavement. We won't talk about them.
Never toured with them.
Yeah. But they were on the Lollapalooza when we played the Lollapalooza.
Oh, that's true.
Like that was like a week of shows. Okay. Tour. What about the Super Chunk tour? Yeah, we played with Super Chunk, but we were Salaryman, and it was in Europe, right? I always was just telling the story about like we were either in Norway or something, Oslo, and me and Laura were looking, or I always look for the penis and balls drawn on the walls of the dressing rooms. There's always a penis and balls. And so I always look for it, and there it is. Sometimes it's spurting, and sometimes it's got hair on the balls and stuff. And this particular one, there were 3 penises, and just like in a trident, like pointing together, like meeting at the tips. And I said, look at that. And Howie said, Opa. And Laura said, yeah, you don't see that very often.
And so it was I think the Superchunk tour with Salaryman was similar to actually the Steel Pole Bathtub tour of Europe with Poster Children, in that Europe, that was with the Superchunk tour was sort of Europe was falling out of love with indie rock, and so that it was the end of the era. So it was kind of like it was like, wow, the last time we were here, there was a lot more enthusiasm, bigger crowds, the press was a lot more friendly, and then you got Salaryman doing the plink plink post rock thing, and then with Steel Pole Bathtub and Poster Children, it was the same thing where it was just like, wow, we did a tour like 2 or 3 years ago, and it was just it was like we were rock stars, and now everyone in Europe doesn't care about this this music anymore. So I think that was more of the tone of the tour. It had nothing to do with like everybody was great and the dynamic, but it was like, wow, this is like it's an end of an era. Both tours felt like an end of an era, where it was like, because that was the story. It was like, oh, you go to Europe. Europe loves indie rock, American indie rock, and you're treated like kings and queens.
I felt like we were still treated. Well.
Compared to in the United States and England, you were treated well because the Europeans actually appreciate artists and musicians.
Yeah, but
but what I'm talking about is just kind of general, like the tide was changing, and this type of music was no longer the flavor of the year or the decade, and so that was the big thing. That's what I remember about it. It was like, oh wow, it was nice. So I know people were like really into this new electronic weird Salaryman stuff, and I felt like I like to kind of rock out on the stage, and you can't rock out behind a keyboard. You look stupid. That's why they made the keytar, Rose. I keep telling you that. There's a reason why the keytar exists.
Man, what other tours did we? Corner Shop. We didn't play with them.
I think we played one show with them. I
don't know who that is. Is it the Jangly band?
Brimful of Asha. I'll play you the song later. You'll remember it.
What other bands did we tour? There was
Archers Aloft. That was a great tour.
Oh my God. Yeah, they were fantastic. Oh God, Archers Aloft, and they were so nice to us also. And what other band? These bands are so nice to us. What other bands did we like to play with all the time? Well, Mercy Rule, of course, and House of Large Sizes. What big ones, though? People always ask that. Yeah.
We need to do a show with Jim, and Jim remembers everything.
Oh, yeah. Smashing Pumpkins.
What was it last time we did the Salaryman thing, and Jim was like saying, and how we were talking about something very specific, where it was like,
we were like, what?
You remember that there was a clock, and then we had these strange sandwiches. That was the place. That was Nijmegen, and it was like they're like talking about very specific things, and it's just like, oh my God, I barely remember being in Europe. It's really distracting, Graham. We have a guest, but he cannot participate. We don't have a microphone for you. It's just hovering, interfering in the studio vibe, man.
Did you play with Quicksand? Did we play with Quicksand?
I don't think so. We may have played one show.
You want to say anything about the Smashing Pumpkins?
No, not particularly.
I have all kinds of stories. Hugging Billy Corgan, and he was crying in my arms.
What part of no? I don't want to talk about that. Means
you don't have to talk about it. This was
in.
We played with frickin'. This is the greatest show ever because we played with Six Finger Satellite in what is that? Not Boston, but
Rhode Island.
The
tiny Boston.
Providence.
What's the tiny Boston?
Providence.
Tiny Massachusetts.
Rhode Island. And it was like up some stairs or something. He was sobbing in my arms.
That was at the Champagne show at the Blind Pig.
He was crying. See, he was crying, and people were like, "Oh, yeah, Billy Corgan cried." Oh, no, he was crying for some reason, and I was hugging him. There was some other time when we were like we were in a dressing room or something, and he was talking to. Courtney Love was talking to him.
No, that's somebody relating a story. We were not eyewitnesses to history.
No, okay. Somebody hit somebody else too on the Lollapalooza tour, right? I forgot one of the girls.
Courtney Love
hit
got
somebody
into
else.
spat with Kathleen Hanna.
I saw Courtney Love play. I saw Hole play at CBGB's one of the times that we flew out there when we were looking at record labels. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And we saw, and I was very impressed with her.
It was great. It was amazing.
Scared me.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And CBGB's at that level,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And only slightly irritating that she had copped, basically. I mean, that was what Kat from Babes in Toyland was really upset that she felt like Courtney basically took her shtick and got famous. But that's what happens. I don't know. You can't. Yeah. You know, you can't all be famous. Exactly.
Sometimes you just gotta live in the middle of Illinois and teach wonderful classes, and
we
were very lucky.
Yeah, that's no.
Any other? All right, what else do you want to talk about?
I'd love to have the money, but not the damage. But I don't think they go together. I think
money?
With the
what are you talking about?
Being a famous rock star, it'd
Is
be
that
great
what you
to
get
have
money?
that money.
You
yeah,
get money?
Sometimes, not anymore. But and so you'd get money, but you with the money comes damage. I think so.
Swerve Driver, they were really nice too.
Yeah.
They were wonderful.
Classic. Well, first show. I've talked about this a bunch of times.
So sweet.
Classic first show though is the British tour manager, which is basically they take the most awful people in the United Kingdom and they become tour managers. And so that's the one thing is that the tour manager, UK tour managers, biggest assholes in the world. And so once we got past him, everything was fine. Danny probably remembers who this person was and probably knows them as a great person, but it just sticks in my mind anytime I ever dealt with.
Danny's the one who said Swerve Driver.
Yeah, no, it was great.
Because Danny was in Swerve Driver.
Exactly, he was.
Wait, why did you tell that story?
We tell that story all the time.
Yeah, you're right.
But I'm trying to think of who else besides the other UK tour managers. It was just.
I don't ever have a problem with tour managers.
No. I'm talking about specifically. There's a certain breed, like they breed them in the United Kingdom to be a certain way, and it's just like total full on.
Phil Ames is lovely.
Yeah, no, but it's just kind of like
Built to Spill.
Never. I don't think we ever played with them.
Who's the? Oh yeah, I think we didn't. We saw them, right? They play like at Tritos or something. Buzzcocks, they were. I've told all my Buzzcock stories. They were wonderful too. They were so sweet.
Oh yeah, that was a great tour.
They were really really smart. They're like really funny guys. They were great.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So I was going to say, but the nicest band was Steel Pole Bathtub. But they're all nice, and Fugazi really really smart and like really challenging to like you had to be on the tops of your toes to talk to Fugazi because they're really, really brilliant. All these bands are really, really brilliant. Right?
Yeah. Oh no, yeah. I'm not gonna.
Nobody's morons. Like they're all really, really smart. They're all like spend all tour reading books. Like.
Well, that's what you did back
Greg
then. You didn't have the cell phones.
Yeah. Greg from Failure finished Gravity's Rainbow on the tour, right?
No, he had read that already.
He had read that already. Okay.
No, he was a reader.
Yeah. So. All right.
Phil
Ames is why Danny Ingram was in the Swerve Drivers.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I'm talking about that first day, that argument where it's like, we're not moving the drums, we're not doing anything, you're setting up on the floor. That bullshit that happens every time you start a tour with a British tour manager.
Now we got to find out.
They say, fuck you.
We're not moving anything.
Band. We're not moving anything. We're not doing anything. We're not helping you out. We're not, that's what I'm talking about.
So did Danny move his drums?
Danny was not there at the time. He was not there on day one. But on the other side of it was the fact that Ian Burgess showed up at the show.
Yeah,
the first show.
Talk about this.
And the dressing rooms didn't, the walls didn't go up all the way, and Ian Burgess was saying that Swerve Driver were shit, and then. What's his name? The bass player at the time yelled jet lag. And then Ian went jet rag. What the fucking kind of accent is that? And then they just started screaming at each other. So that was not a good way to start off a tour, is to have your friend show up at a show and yell loudly in his own British accent.
Said had that problem with the Chameleons drummer. Chameleons UK wouldn't move his.
Yeah.
We used to always talk about Hum.
Well, what's there to talk about? Like, how much did we tour with them? I don't think we ever did a full tour with them, did we? We took them. We took them.
We took them to Fordham with us, and then we had that drive. They played Fordham with us, I think, or was that Six Finger Salad? We put out the first 2 Hum records.
Yeah, no, but I'm talking about touring. I don't think we actually ever did it.
We
take them to do shows, but I'm trying to remember if we did a full tour with them.
No, we never did a full tour with them.
We
schlepped them out to Fordham, and we schlepped Love Cup, the greatest band that ever lived,
Love
with
Cup
us.
We had on tour with us.
And Six Finger Satellite.
We did some shows in Florida with them and Seaweed. That was crazy.
It's hard to talk about Hum because we grew up with them. They're just our friends.
Well, we didn't tour with them.
Yeah.
We played show. It was, we play one-off shows. I don't think we took. I feel like we didn't take them. Maybe we did take them on tour.
Nobody would like Parasol
Jim
wasn't
would
going to
know.
sign them, right? And so we put out their records, like their first 2 records, and then the second record. What ended up happening? Like got did RCA buy that, or did RCA re-put that out?
I can't remember.
Yeah. But they're very nice. They're like that's like our. It's like talking about our family. Hum and Poster Children a week apart in Tempe. Tina Nixon is saying.
Yeah. Whereas we played with Love Cup in Tempe, I believe.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Maybe it was.
We didn't.
Phoenix.
Hum didn't. After a while, they didn't need us to take them on tour. They stood by themselves.
Yeah, I mean, we would do show. I mean, we did the kind of regional drive shows with them. So I mean, remember them playing with us in Minneapolis and Chicago and places in Ohio and stuff, and probably Kentucky, things like that. But I don't think we took them on a full tour.
There was another one I wanted to dish about, and I can't remember. Like that. Now we've gone through it. Somebody said tour food.
I have to put. If nobody's heard this, I just found out about this podcast. It's been going on for 3 years, and I feel bad about this. It's the first podcast that I've patronized.
Oh, yeah.
History of rock and 500 songs. Really amazing what this guy does with it. So I highly recommend that.
Uncle Tupelo.
We saw Uncle Tupelo. I don't know if we ever played with Uncle Tupelo. We definitely saw them at Maples with Sold American, which was that was one of the best shows I ever saw. Actually,
yeah.
Sold American was amazing. I love Uncle Tupelo and Wilco, but I wish Sold American had also been able to ride that wave better, because they were
incredible.
amazing. And I believe that I forgot his name.
There's all these bands that
Jeff would agree.
Tweedy? No, Jeff Tweedy?
Yeah, would agree that Sold American were amazing.
Yeah.
I think they had a big influence.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the records don't do them justice. Their live performance and the weird comedy angle too, which sounds, more I talk about them, it's honestly a band you would have had to have experienced live to understand how great they were, because if you just describe them, and then even if you listen to the records, you might not get how great this band was, but it was like freaking best band I ever saw with someone playing an acoustic guitar, right?
Yeah.
And I'm
Lonely
talking.
Trailer too was a band that like you needed to see live because it was kind of you couldn't believe how great they were.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. All right.
And I think probably our band. Unfortunately.
Probably needed to see our band live.
Yeah.
I think it's different than what was recorded. Okay. What else you got?
We almost filled an hour with that.
Nostalgia.
Yeah.
What else?
Get us talking about that. We can talk about war. I don't know if we need to talk about that yet. I mean, you've probably heard. I'm already. I don't need to.
Joe Christman saw Sold American at the Gallery. Total pot fest.
Yeah.
So maybe that's maybe.
And maybe that was by the time. Yeah, I don't know. It was amazing.
Pixies. X. We never played with X.
Never played with Pixies. We did play with.
We played with the Breeders. We went on tour with the Breeders.
John Doe and DJ Bonebreak was drumming for him.
And I think John
That
Doe
was not that long. Like in the 90s.
Did John Doe use my bass? I forgot.
He might have used your amp.
Yeah.
He did
Pixies.
not use your bass.
We didn't play with the Pixies. We played with somebody.
Tammy and the Amps. So
no,
and we toured with the
Breeders.
Breeders, but we also played with Tammy and the Amps. One where we opened for Tammy and the Amps in Akron.
What,
right?
What's her name? Kim Deal. Also, just the sweetest. I love her. I hugged her multiple times. Kelly also. Oh my God, they were so lovely. They were. That whole band was so sweet. Yeah, we got along with them really, really well. We have like there's video of us like they were really funny. We would like in one of the dressing rooms we had like set up like a Jeopardy game or something. What was it? Like a trivia game, and it was like Kim and I think you were sitting there. I can't
each
remember.
band.
Like,
so
yeah.
It was Breeders versus Poster Children versus crap. Who else was on that tour? I cannot remember.
There was
a third band, and I can't remember now.
Imperial Teen.
That's fucking right. There's a poster right over there.
Poster.
That's good.
Oh yeah, I can't. That's not this.
Don't move the camera.
I didn't move the camera. Okay. What dumb metal bands did you play with that you ended up liking?
I don't think we played with a lot of metal bands.
No, I'm just kidding. No. What was that band that put out something? They were a dumb metal band, but their hair was short. Filter. We didn't play with them though, right?
That's not a metal band.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think they were industrial. Yeah, we didn't.
We play with a couple of Prong. Chris is reminding me.
Yeah, no, we did play with Prong.
Yeah, and
actually, I think we played with them twice. I do believe we played. It's possible we played it with Prong at Maxwell's. Also,
Jesus
I believe.
Christ. Helmet, Joe. Yes, Helmet. You're right. That's who I was talking about.
Tour?
I don't know if we played with Helmet.
We played a show with them.
Dude, we played with. I always talk about this too. We were in not Sweden, Switzerland, Lausanne, one of the towns in Switzerland, and there was like a ogre band, right? What was the band with the wizard in it?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
That's right. We played some kind of festival, right? And the guy, it was Salaryman
playing that Poster
really?
Children. Really? Maybe it was Poster Children. I don't remember. No, it was probably Poster Children.
So weird. Yeah, we didn't fit.
I don't think there was anybody there.
We don't quite make it with the metal crowd, I don't think. Again,
Absolutely.
Touch of metal is a touch of gold. That's what I always said.
Yeah, we didn't play with any. We probably, yeah.
And it didn't happen.
I'm sorry if we're boring people. Oh, My Bloody Valentine, I don't think we ever
Did somebody say
them.
Boring?
No. I was worried that we were boring people.
We should wrap it up, though.
We never played with My Bloody Valentine.
No, but I saw it. I mean, were you at the show?
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember.
It was loud.
The very loud. Was it at the Metro? No. It was. Was it the. I don't feel like it was the Aragon either. It would have been the. Loveless tour.
I remember.
And so we were the last. So basically, it was when they did the 20-minute song Noise. Well, they always. Oh yeah, and Yo La Tango opened, and so that was the fucking tour where it was like, okay, all of a sudden Yo La Tango turns into this completely different band. It was really amazing because you could see, like watching Yo La Tango, and it's like, oh, this is really different. Yo La Tango has changed, and it was because they were opening that tour. Right? That's an instance where when you're playing with a band, and I feel like they got completely rewired by opening for My Bloody Valentine. Yeah. It's like everything after that is, changed.
Played with Public Enemy. Don't want to tell that story again. In Kansas, but there was another one I just was thinking of now. Oh my God, what was it?
But here's the thing, though, is what everyone talks about the My Bloody Valentine live show and then the Noise Fest at the end and how it's amazing and everything like that. But when you actually were there and it happened, it was excruciating. And honestly, at the end, it was like us and 10 other people standing at the back of the wherever they played, and everybody else left.
Yeah,
everyone else left.
It was the same with LCD Sound System.
Yeah,
it was
LCD
painful.
Sound System. No, Atari Teenage.
Oh, Atari
Riot.
Teenage Riot.
Yeah.
Sorry. House of large sizes at Stubbs, sitting in the dressing room in the basement, watching the floor ceiling flex when the crowd jumped up and down. People would hang off of the rafters. Some of the best shows we ever played were with House of Large Sizes. I love them so much. Damn it, I can't remember what I was. I had a new band that we'd played with that.
We can't remember them all.
Who? So Rick, let me ask you this: if you had the chance to play with any band, who would you want to play with? Who that we haven't played with, or and that we haven't played with, and then what band would you like to play with again?
I don't know. I can't even think of it. I'm sorry.
Gang of Four.
Well, there's no one. Well, I guess there is that new version of Gang of.
No, like if they all came back or something.
Like,
who would you?
Well,
want
then you open it up into bands with dead people.
Yeah,
like,
bands with dead people, like the Screaming Trees.
Come on. No, I'll think about it. I'll do some homework and decide. I can't think that way. Devo.
Joe Christmas
Devo
is saying
would be
Devo.
great.
Yeah, they would probably be very nice because they were from Akron, right?
Yeah, they're Midwestern boys. Anyways.
I remember being in a sister sandwich with Kim and Kelly.
They hugged
Yeah,
you.
we
That's
all
a
hugged
sister
together.
sandwich. Okay.
Yeah,
That's nice. I want to leave it. I got a Tempest machine. There's a company that's making these, and it was super on sale, and I bought it, like these kind of like miniature. They're kind of almost like a full size arcade cabinet, and it worked for
Tempest game.
Tempest, and it had asteroids and everything, and it worked for one night, and then the next morning it stopped working. But the company has shipped out more parts. But it was
You hope.
stay tuned. But yeah,
We had one night of Tempest, like
it was
free
amazing.
Tempest. Yeah.
Much better than the little tiny Tempest game I have.
Oh God.
It was. Yeah.
So are you thinking about getting another one of those machines?
No. Only if they. So this is the thing.
Oh,
They've
yeah,
got a
yeah,
Williams game.
Yeah.
See, now you set me off. I was going to finish up the show. Williams machine. They have a Williams machine. It's got Joust. It's got Rampage. So it's got the double handles for Rampage. It does not include Robotron.
Which is Rick's game. He loves Robotron.
That to me feels like a personal insult. It's like, well, here, let's make a game that's actually going to make Rick angry. We're gonna release this. But my thought is maybe like Robotron is too, like you get too worked up when you play it, that it would just knock over, because these games,
they're a little flimsy.
They're tinier than, and yeah, you could knock it over. It's not like it weighs 500 pounds, although I think the UPS person, it comes in a flat pack, like it's like an IKEA video game console.
I heard when they dropped it on the.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I was here and I heard boom. I heard the door open and I heard boom, and I was like, "What the hell was that?"
Our UPS person is, I think,
belligerent.
Well, no, I think they're just on the edge.
Tron.
Yeah, they have a Tron machine.
Oh,
but it's
really?
more expensive. Yes, they do. But it's
Chris
more
Rieger's
expensive.
asking if you played Warlords.
No.
But we still love you, Chris.
All right.
No, I like Tron, Joe. I'm
yeah,
a
if you
Tron.
want to spend the big bucks, they do have a Tron machine.
No, because I nearly have a heart attack when I play that game with the tank.
Yeah.
And then the car running thing makes me crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, it really freaks me out.
I can't believe it would last that long.
More. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Did you? No, it's like more anxiety. Like, does your heart feel like it's gonna pop when you play those games?
Oh, it also had Centipede and Millipede.
Which was designed by. Why don't you talk about how that was designed?
Yeah, I just read a great story.
We went under last week, so you can talk a little bit more.
Oh no, I just read a oral history of Centipede, I guess, or an interview with the woman who designed the game, and it was basically things like having arguments about colors. It's like the guy was the tech was behind like trying to get the colors working for the demo machine, and then all of a sudden hit these pastel colors, and she was like, yeah, keep that. These are the colors we need. And everyone was like, fuck you. You can't make a video game with these colors. And it was just like, everything, like basically, I don't know what you talk about, right? It's like the one woman at Atari, designing games, and just basically all the bullshit to get this game, and then wound up being this hugely, massively popular game. And it was also one of the first arcade games that was popular with women, and so you talk about Ms. Pac-Man, but Ms. Pac-Man wouldn't exist, I don't think, if without Centipede. And so, yeah, it was just kind of like they had a book, and it was like they were trying to force her to make a laser game. She didn't want to make a laser game, and then all of a sudden someone decided, oh, we shouldn't make shooters. And then it was like, well, there's this kind of game in the book, they just had an idea book. It's like a worm game, and then it was like, oh, we got to add something else in. Let's add spiders. Fuck you! Oh, we don't need spiders. And it's like, what's this? It was just like every step of the way, it sounded like it was just a bunch of men telling her, "This is stupid. You shouldn't do this. These colors are stupid." And it was just like, oh my God, how did she even?
Tina Nixon says my friend had an arcade and got her a full size centipede.
Yeah. And she quit. She quit and went to another game company, and then I think left the business. But she wasn't on the millipede team, right? So she left. She made Centipede and then left because it was just kind of like, ugh. But it was amazing. I'd never heard her story. I've heard a lot of those kind of early arcade stories, and yeah, she was just a woman who was a programmer, and she got into game. Like once she saw, what was it, Pong or something, she was just like, oh, because what was she doing before that? I can't remember. It was some kind of thing that was tangentially kind of connected, not video games at all, but it was like programming and
weapons?
Interface stuff. Yeah, it might have been weapon stuff. I think it actually might have been, but yeah, because what else was there in the computer field at the
nothing.
time? Yeah, but it was really, yeah, really. But still, yeah, this game, it's amazing when it works. So we'll keep you updated. All right. I got to get on with my life.
Chris Rieger wants an 80s arcade episode. How about we all go to the to the nearby arcade as a program in Creative Technologies, and we'll have a party there. I think we can do that.
The arcade in McLean County named Arcadia.
Arcadia.
Which it is not a coincidence that that's the same name as the Duran Duran offshoot band, because the jukebox, at least for a while, had all Duran Duran for a while, or like at least every Duran Duran record and even the Arcadia record. But anyways, all right. I'm going to hit the music.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
RAT or DOD. What's DOD 250?
Department of Defense.
Bye.